Okay, today we continue with our class Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We continue with Sefer Shmiras Haloshon. The topic is in a man's hands. God has made men upright, but they thought many in tricks. So it's from Kechalas 7:29. Right? So God made men upright, but they thought many in tricks. Okay. The Holy One, blessed be He, who is upright and righteous, created man in His image, so that he too would be upright and righteous. One may ask, if so, then why did God create an evil inclination, as it is written, the image of man's hearts is evil? Imagery of man's heart is evil from his youth, as it says, Bereshit 8:21. If God Himself refers to the inclination as evil, then who can possibly transform it into something good? So, which is a good question. So, HaShem created evil inclination, right? And it says it's installed from the youth, right? So, what is what we can do about it? Right? That's the question. God responds, it is you who made it evil. As a child, you did not sin. It is when you mature that you sin. Right? The child, maybe did something, but at least it did not count, or it was not on that scale of sins, right? As a children, okay. There are many items in this world more rigid and bitter than evil inclination. Yet you make them sweet. There is nothing more bitter than turmusin. Yet you diligently cook it 7 times until it turns sweet. Surely then you can do the same with evil inclination that is given over to your hands. So HaShem answers this person. Right? So person has this question: why did He give me evil inclination, and you called it evil, and you're telling me that I can transform it to be good? How is it possible? Right? If you call it evil, that's it. It is evil. Period. Right? So HaShem answers like this food. So I'm not sure what kind of food is it, but it's very bitter. But they say nothing bitter than this turmusim. But you cook it. You pour away the water. Pour new water, fresh, cook it again 7 times, and after 7th time, it becomes very sweet and beautiful. So I always, when I first read this Medrash, I had the question: how did they know to cook it so many times? If it is bitter and you did once, who told them to continue cooking? I don't have an answer, but I think it's a very interesting question. The intent of the above Medrash is clear. HaShem has given man the ability to subdue the evil inclination, so that it can be utilized in accomplishing his spiritual goals, as it is written. Yet you can conquer the evil inclination. It says Bereshit 4:7. It is man alone, through his ways and deeds, who determines who will be the victor of the crucial struggle. So it's up to us what we're going to do with evil inclination. But HaShem said that we can beat it, so we can beat it. There is no question about it. And many times, I think it's my tactics, and that's what I learned from my Rabbi. And just don't be there. So if you know that you have this issue, just don't be there. Don't put you in that situation. You don't have to have a hard choice. That's it. Okay. Stop here. Okay, so we continue with Kitzur Shulchan Aruch and Siman number 40. It's very interesting Siman that we started. Even though we learned some of these things in Halachas of Brachas class, but here is a little different approach. Right, same Halachas of course, but a little different approach. Okay, so the laws of washing hands for the meal. Right, contains 21 seifim. Of course, it's a long topic, and we're on seif number 2. And it says, So it's like a little introduction. In the following Seifim, Kitzur sets out the optimal way performing Netilas Yadayim with regard to the appropriate vessel, amount of water, and procedure to be followed. Kitzur does not address many halachas that apply to one who cannot follow the procedure due to the lack of water, appropriate vessel, or any other reason. This halacha is addressed in length in Orach Chaim 158 to 165. See Mishnah Berurah there. So whatever I remember, we're going to add in the commentary. But okay, so the translators tell us here we're going to discuss only the optimal way. So all these exceptions we will try to add as we go. Okay, so let's see. So it says Netilas Yadayim must be performed specifically by putting the water from a vessel. Okay, from a vessel, so commentary. One may not wash his hands by taking the water in a palm on one hand and putting it into another. Okay, that's from Shulchan Aruch. So it has to be from the vessel. The vessel must be whole, without any hole or crack that completely penetrates the wall of the vessel. Right. Okay. And also surface surface at the top of the vessel must be even, without the crevice or protrusions. So the surface must be, they said, even. Okay. So the problem would be pitcher, right? When the spout is a little higher than the rest of the body, or the rest of the lip of the vessel. So let's see the commentary. Any point of the vessel's height that cannot hold water does not have halakhic status of a vessel, period. And one may not wash by putting the water from that point or higher. When a vessel has on one side a cut-out opening or protrusion that is lower than the top, or the top of the vessel cannot hold water up to the top. Okay. Therefore, any water poured from this vessel is not considered to be coming from which is halachically called a vessel. Okay, so I'm going to show you two pictures. So the first picture would be when the slip is lower. Let me see if I can bring close to the camera. So show to the camera. 1 second. So this is the vessel. Show to this camera. So he's the vessel that they're talking about, and here's a second vessel, which is opposite is a case. Okay, so one lip is higher than the rest of the body, and another is lower than the rest of the lip, right? So technically, it cannot hold water all the way to the brim. That's the thing. Continue. Consequently, so those jars are not considered to be halachically vessels for washing our hands. Consequently, regarding those jars that have a spout on a side protruding above the upper lip, so that's above upper lip, that the second picture that I showed, right? About upper lip of the vessel, through which the water is poured, one should not wash the hands using the spout, because there, at the level of the spout itself, it does not have halakhic status of the vessel. Since the vessel cannot hold liquids there at the level of the spout. So that's the second picture. So let me show you one more time. So I have continuation. So here's the picture, and here's the picture. Okay. So basically, from the lip, for sure, you cannot wash. Commentary. In this, not from the lip, I'm sorry, from the spout, because it's higher. Uh, in this case, the spout protrudes higher than the top of the lid of the vessel, and thus the vessel cannot hold the liquid at that level. Any water poured from the spout is therefore not considered to be poured from the vessel. So, of course, halakhic. I mean, you look at this picture, of course, it's vessel, but halakhically, it's not a vessel for washing of the hands. Continue. Rather, one must wash by pouring the water from the lip of the vessel of the other lower side, which is a place of the vessel that can hold liquid. So commentary, and so basically they say, okay, when there is a lip, when the spout is higher than the lip, okay, you cannot wash them from there, but from the sides, technically you can. Okay. So commentaries say, I hear Kitzur explain that although the spout that is above the lip of the vessel is not halakhically considered a vessel, one may pour from a lip, from the lower lip of the vessel, since at that point the vessel does hold water. So in simple words, so even the spout is higher than the rest of the picture, right? But at the level when it's flat, so it can hold the water all across, right, up to the brim, up to the top. Okay. So technically, so what we do, we pour from the side. Okay. So CF number 3. Regarding the vessel that cannot stand upright, very interesting, unless it is supported, the law is that if it was made in this way originally, to be used while supported, then it is the halakhic status of the vessel. So let's see the commentary, and we're going to explain. Commentary. There is when the vessel is not supported, any liquid inside will spill out. The vessel would not contain revies between 2.9 5.1 fluid ounces, 86 grams to 156 grams. Okay, so what does it mean? There is some fancy schmancy like one wine pitcher. So it does not. It has like not regular bottom, but some like I don't know, like triangle or something. Like it's not going to stand by itself, but it has special stand. So I saw it in the picture, and I never see it live. So only in the picture, and if you put it on a stand, then it's going to stand. But by itself, it's not going to stand. So it's fancy schmancy. I don't know. So this would not be kosher unless if you put it by itself, it would still contain revies of liquid, which is good. So revies, as we said, 3 ounces or 3 to 5 ounces. Okay. Okay. So continue. So let me read this sentence one more time. Regarding a vessel that cannot stand upright unless it is supported, as we said, some kind of stand, the law is that if it was made this way originally to be used while supported, then it has halakhic status of vessel. Okay. However, if it was not made, so but the commentaries say, so okay, even unsupported, it has to still contain some like minimum amount of liquid, which is revies. Okay, so technically revies is the minimum amount that you need to wash your hands. That's it. Okay, number 13. Continue. The law is that if it was made this way originally to be used while supported, then it has a halakhic status of the vessel. Okay, so and can contain this liquid, then it is vessel, no problem. Continue. However, it was not made to be used this way. For example, the cover of the vessel, then vessel, then the vessel that can hold liquid when held in inverted position, but has not made for this purpose, one may not wash from it. Okay, so there's some kind of cover, like a deep cover, right? And technically you can pour water into it or any liquid and hold even more than reviews, right? But since just 1 second, but since what? One second. Let's read this one more time. However, if it was not made to be used in this way, for example, the cover of the vessel that can hold liquid when it's held in an inverted position, meaning in your hand, but was not made for that purpose, one may not wash from it. So I think it's a perfect example. So this cover, even though it is good, it can hold the liquid, but it was not made to hold the liquid. It was made to cover the vessel. So so now it does not have a status of the vessel. Okay, continue. This law has many halakhic details that are set out in Shulchan Aruch 159 and halachas 1 through 5. Okay, continue. The amount of water necessary for Netilas Yadayim is difficult to figure precisely. Okay, so here we go. Difficult to figure precisely, but let's see. Commented. The minimum amount of water required to wash both hands is total of 1 revis, as we said, right? That's the minimum required. See Shulchan Aruch 160:13. However, one who uses only this amount of water encounters many complex halakhic issues that are avoided by using at least revis on each hand. See Mishnah Berurah 158:37. In addition, when using only the minimum amount, it is very difficult to completely cover the entire surface of the hand. So technically, as we said, the revis may be enough, maybe, right, on one hand. On another hand, they say it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. Like to do it properly halakhically, meaning the proper way to wash until the wrist, right, and pour at least twice. So of course this revis is not enough, but if somebody is pouring on your hands, so you can put like under the stream 2 hands, so it's going to be easy. So and maybe you're gonna have to do it up to the wrist, maybe when the fingers end, so a little, so you save a lot of water there. No, not a lot, but some water there. So technically it's possible, but practically it's not very practical. But of course we're talking about exceptional situations. Therefore, it is necessary to pour the generous amount of water upon each hand. And as Rav Hiza said in Shabbos 62b, right, I wash my hands with a full handles of water, and they gave me from heaven full handles of prosperity. Okay, so some people take it to extreme, right? They come to your house and now they want to pour the whole cup on each hand, and it takes forever, and it's a waste of water. It's like very annoying. So why? Because they're trying to be rich. They heard this. They don't want to read the rest of the Gemara, but they read only this part. They want to be rich. Number 15. Nevertheless, ideally, one should not serve HaShem for the purpose of receiving heavenly reward, right? As we learned in Rambam, but solely for the sake of the honor of HaShem, and reward will come on its own, right? So as Rambam said, he said exactly what it says here. We should not work like for a reward, but you must know the reward is going to come. And in this chapter 9 or in the end of the chapter 8, said he has to show that amazing reward that the person cannot fathom. If one does not wish the generous amount, and one does not wash with generous amount of water and does not become rich, if one does, I'm sorry, that's very interesting. If one does wash with a generous amount of water and does not become rich as a result, this is due to his sins. Prevent him from attaining the reward this way. See Mishnah Berurah 158:38. So some people, they, as Rabbi Reuven Shlita say, they try to sell a Torah very cheaply. How come? How so? They say if you do this, you're going to get married, right? If you're going to do this, you're going to be rich, you're going to get a better job and better parnasa, everything. So people, and then people maybe not going to get it because, as we explained, because of the other sins, because they do only some things, right? And even do more. So HaShem does not promise you do this, and as a result, you're going to do it, right? You're going to get it maybe tomorrow, maybe 5 years from now, maybe next generation. You're going to get it. But we try not to promise people anything. I mean, that's proper thing to do, as the commentaries say. We're doing for honor of Hashem. Hashem created the world for His honor, and we're here to honor Him. That's our mission. Not to get rich. Okay, continue. One should wash the right hand first, and afterwards the left hand. Okay. It says as above, with regard to Netilas Yadayim performed upon arising in the morning. Right? So right hand and then left hand. The water should cover the entire surface of the hand. That is until the wrist. So let's see commentary, and we're going to explain. For the further discussion regarding the area of the hand of the water, must reach see appendix to Kitzur editorial glosses. So okay, let's continue reading, because I think he's going to cover whatever he's not going to cover. We're going to add. So for now, we said technically one time is enough. One on the right hand and left hand. So up to the wrist. Okay. Continue. No area of the hand should remain without water. Therefore, in order to accomplish this, one should separate the fingers slightly and lift them slightly upwards, so that the water reaches the entire length of the fingers up to the top of the fingers and all around the width. So make sure when you pour the water, so you put the fingers like separately, right? Separately, and then you lift up your hands. But there is one thing that we have to do before we say the blessing. So let's see. The water should come over his hand in one unbroken stream. So okay. Therefore, one should not wash his hands from a vessel. There is narrow openings, like from the bottle you cannot wash. From which the water does not come out all at once. It is proper to pour from the cup onto each hand twice. Okay, so even though, as we said, one time is enough, but it's proper to pour on each hand twice, and we're going to explain why. Because the first water is it washed out the tuma, impurity, spiritual impurity, from the hands, and it became dirty. So I mean, if it's and this tuma is contracted through the water. So if it touches the place where it is still tuma, like down on the wrist, and it can go back and make the whole hands impure again. That's why we do it twice. Okay. Comment. The Mishnah Berurah 62 Tori, however, rules that one may wash his hands with two consecutive acts of pouring as well, as long as there is no interruption in between them. Okay. Nevertheless, he discourages the use of various utensils that have narrow openings, since there are those who take the stringent stand in the matter. So, I mean, in case of necessity, I'm not sure like how wide this the neck of the bottle could be. Like there are some bottles, like I'm not sure if they still called bottles or jars, with a wider neck, not a regular but wider one. Okay. So in case of the need, as Mishnah Berurah said, maybe two consecutive things in two consecutive points. Okay, so one more time. One time technically enough, but it's still present halachic, might present halachic issues. So we do twice on each hand. Okay. So commentary: if water is not available, one is not required to make an effort to find enough water to pour a second time, as long as he pours the of water at once. Okay, that's it. So it's very simple. So that's what we must know. Some people do 3 times, but it's not necessary. I mean, it's according to Kabbalah, they say 3 times. Okay, but technically 1 is enough. So 2 is preferable. But if not enough water, you don't have enough water, so you can do it even with 1 time. Halacha number 5. After washing both hands, he should rub them together and lift them up to the level of his head. As the verse says in Tehillim 134:2, lift your hands and settle. Okay, so let's do the commentary and we're going to explain. So that's the middle step that I was referring to. After washing of the hands, he should rub them together, completely remove all dirt from his hands. Okay, today what we do, Mishnah Berurah 162:24. So today, before washing of the hands, so for example, you came from outside, so first we wash with a soap, right? You wash in a normal way, whatever you do every time when your hands are dirty, they're sweaty, whatever the case is, right? And then you wash with the Netilas Yadayim. So in olden days, when water was not so readily available, so they were trying to rely on washing from dirt and this spiritual cleansing in the same act. So that's why he said so. Okay. But still, we do rub, and I'm going to show you how to do the rub. And lift and lift them up to the level of his head, as the verse in Tehillim says, lift up your hands. Commentary. The full verse in Tehillim reads, lift your hands in holiness and bless HaShem. Exactly. Right? The mitzvah of Netilas Yadayim is alluded to by the verse use of the word kodesh, in holiness. Since the washing before eating upholds the value of the holiness and cleanliness. See introduction to the Siman. Okay. Thus we see from the verse that we are to rise our hands at the time of Netilas Yadayim, right? Before we make the blessing. A mitzvah promotes holiness. So the way we do this scrubbing, what we call it, together. So I put twice on one hand, twice on us, and then I do like this and make sure that the water goes like between the fingers everywhere. So then I shake excess of the water, like raise the hands, like so the water can go down, and then say the blessing. That's the thing. So very important to do this middle part when you rub your hands. Making sure that that the water is everywhere, and even when you pour water. So some can say you try to turn the hand around, like turn so the water goes everywhere. Otherwise, if you just pour it, it can go like only on top, and that's it. Continue. So and the sources from the healing, very interesting. And before one dries them, he should recite the following blessing. I'm not going to repeat, just say the end. Al Netilas Yadayim, right? So it's King of Universe, who sanctified us with his commandments and has commanded us regarding his regarding washing of the hands. So that's Al Netilas Yadayim. And commentary is, although the mitzvah of Netilas Yadayim is of rabbinic origin, we still say that that it was HaShem who has commanded us regarding the washing of the hands. For HaShem commanded us to obey the legislation of the sages. I said, Dvarim 17:11, who instituted Netilas Yadayim. Mishnah Berurah 158:6. So okay. So it's very important then when when a person disobeys some of these laws that were instituted by the Torah, so he actually breaks two commandments. First is whatever sages told us to do, and the second is one is rabbinical and one is biblical. So which one is biblical? Biblical is this one that we just read, that you have to listen to your rabbis, right? That's a biblical. So whatever they say, it goes. That's a rule. Okay, that's why we can say the blessing that HaShem actually told us to wash our hands. How did he tell us? No, he did not tell us. He told us to listen to our rabbis, and that's how whatever his will is. They tell us. They explain us what his will is. That's it. Very simple. Although when it comes to the blessings, on all of the other mitzvahs, the blessing is recited upon them, preceding their performance, right? As we said before many times. Nevertheless, with regard to the mitzvah of al Netilas Yadayim, since at times his hands are not clean before he washed them, the sages therefore instituted that for every Netilas Yadayim, the blessing should be recited after the washing. So let's see the commentary, and we're going to explain. For example, one had used the bathroom or ties the part of the body that is usually covered, in which case he may not recite the blessing until he washed his hands. Okay. So we said it long time ago, but it still stands. So if somebody used the bathroom, he has to wash the hands after the bathroom. Let's say he did not wash his hands after the bathroom, he goes directly to wash for bread. Okay, so after the fact there is no problem, but he cannot say the blessing before he washes, right? Because he's not allowed to say blessing. He's not allowed to do many things until after he washes his hands. That's why this is one of the few examples that our sages say. Maybe one of three examples at least. Right, that first we do mitzvah and then we say blessing. Right? Why? Because we just explained. Because his hand might maybe not clean, spiritual. Continue. The sages therefore instituted that for every Netilas Yadayim, the blessing should be recited after the washing. Furthermore, there is an aspect of the prior to their performance. There is a fulfilled here as well. For the drying of the hands, which one does after reciting the blessing, is also part of mitzvah of Netilas Yadayim. Okay, so let's read the commentary and we're going to explain. Thus, his blessing is still made prior to the act, to at least part of the mitzvah. For this reason, one must be careful to recite the blessing before drying of the hands. Nevertheless, one who did not recite the blessing before drying of the hands may still recite the blessing until he has recited Hamotzi, blessing on the bread. Mishnah Berurah 158:44. So let's try to explain. So the mitzvah of washing of the hands consists of two parts, right? One part we wash with water, and second part we do what? And second part we dry our hands with a towel, right? So when we say the blessing after the washing, it's like you still said it in the middle of the mitzvah, so you still have to dry. So that's why first you say the blessing normally without any rush, and then you go and wash and wipe your hands. Okay. So let's learn the Refuah Shlema. Adina Leah Bas Mazal, little girl. Okay, continue. One who is accustomed to pour twice on each hand should first pour one time on each hand, and then rub them, and recite the blessing. And after that, he should pour the second time on each hand. Okay, so it's very interesting. That's not what we do, but I'm going to read it anyway. So he said, Shulchan Aruch said, one who is accustomed to pour twice on each hand, right, should first pour one time on each hand, rub them, as I showed you to rub, recite the blessing, and after that, he should pour a second time on each hand. So okay, so let's see, but we don't do that. Commentary: the accepted custom is to pour twice on each hand, and then recite the blessing. By washing each, see Mishnah Berurah 158:41. By washing each hand twice, one avoids the potential halachic issue involving with touching the water on which the hand, water on the handle of the washing cup. Okay. 162:49. Okay. Washing cup, but I think they said that the water from the place where it was clean at the risk can go back. Doesn't matter. So there are reasons to this reason, that reason. So the proper it's to wash it twice, technically, and that's why we try to use cup with the two handles. That's exactly the reason. Continue. He should take care to dry his hands well. Okay, the commentary. Eating without drying one's hands is considered a repulsive behavior. Mishnah Berurah. Okay, so and our rabbis teach us whatever is repulsive for others. So for you, maybe there is no problem, or not for you, for somebody else. So there is no problem. So his hands are wet. So now he's touching his bread, and now this bread a little mushy because he did not wipe his hands. I know it's very, very disgusting to look at it. So our sages said if other people are disgusted from your eating, so this food is not kosher. This whatever you eat is not kosher. It's forbidden. See Shulchan Aruch 158:12 with Mishnah Berurah and Berurah halacha. For other reasons, to dry one's hands after the washing. So of course the other reasons is that the water transmit the impurity, and you just wash your hands. You don't want them to get impure because of your hands are wet. So if they would be dry, no problem, but wet, big problem. One should not dry them on his cloak, because doing so has a negative effect of causing forgetfulness. So that's in general. It's not about only this situation, but other situation. So a person should not dry his hands on himself. Right? Why? Because it's spiritual, right? The reason, because person is going to forget Torah. Okay, even the person might say, well, what is the problem? My hand says 100% clean, so does not make any difference. So it's not about, even if nobody sees that, nobody's going to get disgusted, but the person is going to forget Torah. Okay. So let's see. Continue. Number 6. If after he poured the water on one hand, he touched the hand that had already washed with the other unwashed hand, or if another person who did not wash Netilas Yadayim touched the hand that he had already washed, then the water on his hand becomes ritually impure, as we were saying before. He must then dry the water on his hand and wash second time. However, if this happened to him after he had already recited the blessing, he should wash again and should not recite the blessing second time. So all of these things that when he accidentally touched the shoes or scratched himself, or under the kippah, or in the places where we usually cover it, like under the sleeve, let's say, right? So that's he has to wash his hands, and without blessing. Or if somebody spoke between the blessing, the washing of the hands, and the blessing on the bread, and it was not related to the meal. Okay, they ask about bread. Okay, so now they have to wash again without the blessing. So let's do this piece again, these commentaries. So it says, after he poured the water on one hand, he touched the hand that he had already washed with the other unwashed hand. Right? Or if another person who did not wash Netilas Yadayim touched the hand that he had already washed, then the water on the hand becomes ritually impure. So that's why our cups have two handles, right? So if I start with the right hand, if I wash the right hand, and then let's say I don't have a two-handle cup, I have a regular cup, right? And then I pass from a left hand, I pass to the right hand, and in the middle I touch the right hand. So the water the water on the right hand and the right hand itself becomes impure, or somebody else touched my hand that I just washed, right? Why? Because we said because it was wet, and it transmits impurity. Commentary. The unwashed hands is covered. Unwashed hands is covered to be in. The unwashed hand is considered. Unwashed hand is considered to be in an impure state until it is washed. It therefore transmits tuma to the water of the washed hands, which in turn transmits tuma to the hand that it washed. I mean that's logical, right? As we said, if it would be dry hand, it would be a different story, right? But since it was wet hand, that's how this tuma passed. See Mishnah Berurah 62:46. Note that an unwashed hand transmitted impurity to the water only when it is involved in performing Netilas Yadayim. One who touches the water when he is not performing Netilas Yadayim does not transmit impurity to the water, and the water is not disqualified. So it's very, 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 very interesting point. So this impurity, one hand we washed, right hand we washed, left we did not. So from left if I touch with my left hand, my right hand, which is still wet, so impurity can go on my right hand, right? But if I touch the water, if I'm not washing, I'm not washing the hand, right? I just touch the water, like inside of the cup, with my unwashed hands, so this water is not being impure. So it's what is the logic? It's spiritual logic. Okay, I mean it has nothing to do with the process of purifying. That's why, I mean, otherwise I would say that it's my personal explanation. It would be no stop. You understand? So we have to our sages had to draw the line. So they say up to here, but don't drive yourself crazy. He must then dry the water from his hand. So if he touched accidentally, so meaning with the left hand which was unwashed, I touched my right hand which was washed because I didn't have cup, and I used let's say this plastic cup, let's say, right? And wash second time. So I have to dry my right hand and have to wash again. However, if it happens, so one more pouring is not going to work. Okay, just so you know. However, if this happened to him after he already recited the blessing, he should wash again, but should not recite the blessing second time. Right? So without the blessing. So continue. Let me know if any questions. Okay, so then we continue. Number 7, one who does not have a vessel with which to wash can fulfill the requirement of Netilas Yadayim by immersing his hands in a river or in a mikveh that is valid for the woman's immersion. Commentary. There is to fulfill the requirements necessary for it to be used for a ritual immersion required to purify a woman from her nida, menstrual impurity state. Right? See below 162.14. We're going to get to it. Beezrat HaShem. It's also above Siman 37. So since this purification for a woman is a biblical commandment, so it's stricter than for men. So technically for men it needed, in case of the need, he cannot go to the mikvah, this, that, we don't have time, whatever, it doesn't matter. So he can, I would suggest he can stand under the shower for, I think like 10-15 minutes, no more than that. And he fulfilled the obligation to go to the mikvah. But for a woman, it's not going to work. I mean, the requirements are much stricter, right? But of course, if it's mikvah kosher for a woman, for sure it is kosher, which is biblical. For sure, it is kosher for Netilas Yadayim, which is rabbinical. Needless to say. Okay. So commentaries continues. See below, Siman 162, Sifim 12 and 13 for the halacha regarding suitability of rivers for immersion. Commentary. Kitzur specifically addresses that issue that arises when rivers become swollen due to the rainwater or melting snow. Okay. Melting snow. Okay, continue. Or he may immerse his hands in a spring. Right. So spring is also always good. It's live water. It's always good, even if it does not contain 40 seah of water. So, as long as his hands can be completely covered by water in the spring at one time. So, of course, you can immerse in the well in the spring. So, but spring is like, of course, it's usually not, of course, but usually it's much less water. So you can wash your hands there. One commentary about the 40 seah. So 40 seah is what we need for a woman's mikvah. So it says the 40 seah is the minimum amount of water required for a mikvah. There is a difference of the opinion among the contemporary authorities as to the equivalent of the 40 seah and the modern measurement. According to many opinions, it's approximately 200 gallons. 200 gallons, which is a lot. However, some views require as much as 255 gallons. Let's say approximately 965 liters. Okay. A spring, however, may be used for immersion that is valid for Netilas Yadayim, even if it does not contain even if it contains less than 40 seah. Okay, so spring is different, but of course it has to be deep enough so it can cover the whole body. Okay. And we continue in this set. As long as his hands can be completely covered in water in a spring at one time. Okay, so even tiny spring, of course, so like you don't need much to cover the hands. Commentaries say he need not actually immerse both hands at once. However, there must be enough water that he should be able to do so. So it's very tiny spring should work. Continue. When washing his hands with these methods, he should also recite the blessing Al Netilas Yadayim. So it's absolutely kosher. So from vessel or in a river or in right on a spring in a well and all of these beautiful things. Okay. Let's do recite the blessing commentary. However, when immersing one's hands in a water that would be disqualified for washing, but qualified for immersion, one should recite the blessing Al Netilas Yadayim regarding immersing hands. Mishnah Berurah 159:97. I don't remember exactly, but it's not like I think the water that changed its color, lost its color, like maybe even this smelly water. So it is still good for immersion, but not good for Netilas. Okay. Okay, continue. So here we say different lesson. Tivilas Yadayim. As Tivilas is what we say on the utensil, when we dip utensil. In case of the pressing need, so it's dipping of the utensil. Here is the washing of the hands, but there it's dipping of the utensils. The dipping of the hands on this unqualified water. In case of the pressing need, where there is no water available, one may immerse his hands in snow. If there is much snow, up on the ground has the amount of water necessary for a mikveh, so 40 seh. So it should be a pretty decent amount of snow. 42. But we have to calculate on what territory, how far. It is not necessary for the 40 seh of the snow to be completely gathered together in one place. One may immerse his hands even in a shallow covered in snow, as long as it is connected to the 40 seh of snow. There must, however, be at least enough snow gathered together in a place to cover his hands. Mishnah. Okay, so at least in that place should be enough snow to cover his hands. Continue. If he has no other option, so okay, so there is no river, no spring, no snow. Okay, if there is no other options, he must wash his hands from a pump. Okay, he should place one hand near the ground, and with the second hand, he should draw the pump to bring the water up upon his hand. And afterwards, he should switch hands, or he should have his fellow draw the water for him, so he can have both his hands close to the ground. However, if his hands were not positioned near the ground, but above the ground, the washing is not effective for him and must wash again. So let's stop here and we try to explain. So now we're talking about the pump, right? If there is no other option, commentary. If the vessel is available, one should not wash directly from the pump, of course. I mean, maybe it's easier, but pour in the vessel and wash from the vessel. Okay, if one has no other option and must wash the hands from the pump. Commentary. Kitzur is discussing the mechanism that draws the water from the underground spring, right? Mechanical pump, or I'm not sure if the electric pump, I don't think it's going to work. We're talking about mechanical pump. In this case, the water that is drawn from the pump is connected via direct stream of water to the water of the spring. So that's very important point. That's the commentary is saying. So you can, as we say, immerse your hands into this spring, and when you're using pump, so the water coming up from the bottom, from the spring. So this water that is on your hands, is going to pour on your hands, is actually connected, this direct stream, to the water that is underground, and it's from the spring. So that's the thing. And so it's almost like you wash it in a spring. The pump is not considered a vessel, right? For it does not actually hold the water. Very simple. So as soon as you stop pumping, the water goes down. It is therefore not qualified to be used for the al Netilas Yadayim. Okay, very simple. That requires a vessel. So pump is not a vessel, so you cannot be used through the pump. However, if one's hands are completely covered by the flow from the pump, that the water is directly connected to the water in the spring, he is considered to have immersed the hands into the spring, which, as Kitzur has explained, in this sieve is valid method for washing of the hands. Right? That's how he explained it. So if they cover completely with the flow of the water, so this water like completely, so it is connected to the water underground. So that's why it is allowed. It's like you're immersing your hands into the spring. So I see Mishnah Berurah 159:47. Note: each pump mechanism must be examined separately to ascertain that it is appropriate to be used for Netilas Yadayim. In light of the many halachas that affect the qualification of the water for Netilas Yadayim, see, for example, Shar Chatziyun 59:45. Okay, so I mean, we're not going to look at it, but we got the idea. So electric pump is not going to work. Actually, it might work. Actually, it might work, and I just thought about it. That does not make any difference because it's not the vessel. So if you said it's not the vessel, the idea is that we're trying to connect the water under the ground to the stream or that coming out. That's the thing. So it could be electric pump, I guess, but it must cover the whole hand from. That's why he said keep close to the ground. So let's read the whole sentence. If he has no other option, and he must wash his hands from a pump, he should place one hand near the ground, and with the second hand, he should draw the pump to bring the water upon his hand. Sorry, and afterwards he should switch the hands, or he should have his fellow. That's the best, as we said. That's the best. Two hands at the same time. Want to have this fellow to draw the water for him, so he can have both hands close to the ground. However, if his hands were not positioned near the ground, but above the ground, the washing is not effective for him, and he must wash again. Okay, Sidur Derech HaChaim, Si Kinei Kli Haraui. Leviticus chapter 9. Okay, for discussion. Commentary. Ritual immersion is effective only if it takes place on the ground. That's what it is, right? So on the ground. So that's why all of the mikvahs, they're not on the second floor, not on the third floor, but they are in the ground. Since this Netilas Yadayim is actually in an immersion, right? Into the spring that is under the ground. One must position his hands near the ground at the time that they are covered with water from the spring. That's a halakhic explanation. Let me check. Right? Okay. I think we stop here because it's very long and a lot of comments. So, any questions? Go ahead. There is one question that we have to answer from yesterday. So I just remember. So the question was if we learned laws of Shabbos about squeezing, right? So on Shabbos you're not allowed to squeeze, and the question was about what are some wipes, Clorox wipes, the same thing. I mean, with the baby wipes, right? Baby wipes. And I mean, yeah. So if it's so moist that you when you wipe your surface or you wipe the baby, right, you're going to squeeze the liquid. It's not allowed, right? So it has to be like sometimes when you open your package for baby, it's very, very moist. So you let it dry, let it stand outside for, I don't know, half an hour, 1 hour, and it's going to be a little drier. So in that case, you're not going to be able to squeeze the water. So that would be, you would be able to use it. I would think. Any other questions? Okay, no problem. So we stop here. So until tomorrow. Tomorrow we will see if it's changed for Skype or not. We'll see. Thank you. I'll let you know. Thank you.